Field of 68 After Dark.
What's up? Welcome into the Field 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM, alongside Jeff Goodman, who just had a fantastic Caesar salad, and in Stores, Connecticut, which is more important, as UConn fell to Arizona 71-67, one of two top 25 matchups on the night. Mike LaTulip, former Fighting Illini member, watching his squad right now, trailing Alabama down 6. We will get to that in the B block, as I say, TV term. We're going to start with UConn falling. Terrace Reed did not play. Arizona got the win. Jeff, I'll let you begin. You were there in the building. Give us your thoughts on the game overall and Gamble. Did Gamble play a factor? It didn't feel as raucous as I thought it might have.
It was good. But again, I thought Arizona did a good job taking the crowd out of the game for the most part, right? I mean, they got going when Caravan hit that 3. They took a lead, and then the crowd started to go. But give Arizona a lot of credit for keeping their composure. And they were able to dominate down low. I mean, absolutely dominate. Without Terrace Reed, obviously they're a completely different team and out-rebounded by 20. And I think, honestly, post-game, watching Dan Hurley kind of said it all. He wasn't that upset. Normally you expect Hurley losing at home. He's going to be pissed off. But I think he understands this team's going to be really good because they're without 2 of their top players, not just Terrace Reed, but Braylon Mullins, who's probably their highest upside player, maybe a lottery pick, 6'5" shooter who we haven't seen yet this year, a freshman. But again, Arizona wins another close one. Now we've got Florida in Vegas, UCLA in LA, and now UConn in Stores. And this team with 3 freshmen has done a great job out of the gate, showing that, they're a real contender. They're a real contender right now, but Tommy Lloyd understands that doesn't matter because he hasn't made a Final Four, and that's kind of what Arizona is all about. Can they get better to whereas they can be peaking and playing their best basketball in March?
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was one of the best wins of the season, arguably the best win of the season. I think they sport the best resume right now. I'm not sure it's close. I saw the stat. First team in their first 5 games to beat 2 top 5 teams since 89-90 or something. So it's a heck of a resume they've already put together with the win against Florida, with the win against UCLA, going to Gamble, getting the win. And I just thought they kind of beasted UConn in certain portions of this game. And I thought Tommy Lloyd was excellent with his game plan, just the deep drop coverage with Krivas to essentially force the shots that Dan Hurley wants to eliminate from UConn's shot diet, which I thought was brilliant. I mean, they drop a ton with Krivas, but without Terrace Reed, this is just a tough team to play against because they aren't one of those teams that just jacks 33s. They play inside out. And so they were going to play inside out, regardless if Terrace Reed was on the floor or not, but trying to squeeze everything they can out of every offensive possession and then getting 43% of their misses back on the glass because they play inside out. That all, I think, factored in tonight. And UConn was still right there at the end without 2 really important pieces. I mean, Terrace Reed, when he's on the floor and when he's not on the floor for UConn, there's a 20% drop-off of field goal percentage at the rim defensively. 18, 47%, and 65%. So Arizona went right at that tonight, and I thought they owned the paint. I thought they were physical. I thought they did a great job on Caravan, frustrating him. And then on top of that, the contrast between BYU and Arizona. BYU wanted to switch everything off ball. That's a tall task against UConn. Arizona stuck with their assignments. They kept everything in front of them, funneled everything to Krivas, and I thought it was the difference in the game.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I mean, Eric Reba, who played a pretty big game, and I will say when he made that 3 and then Malachi Smith hits the step back at the end of the shot clock, I was like, well, they're going to win this thing at home. They're going to win this thing at home. And to your point, Jeff, the composure Arizona showed, Jaden Bradley continues to make plays down the stretch, that they have one of the best, if not the best lead guard in the country right now in crunch time. He's been outstanding in these big-time games, in big-time moments. We do have a special guest that I think is pretty happy with the outcome of this game. Former Arizona Wildcat, 2-time World Series winner with the Boston Red Sox, current Reds manager Terry Francona joining the crew here at Field of 68. Coach, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I mean, You took that in from across the country, watching your boys win in Gamble. Not an easy thing to do. What was your takeaway?
Nah, I was thrilled. I mean, especially as inexperienced as they are this year. I mean, Tommy's done a great job, and I think what's even more exciting is, as well as the season started, I think their better days are ahead of them come March.
Hey, Terry, good to see you, man. For people that don't
Thanks,
know,
Jeff.
Terry, I've covered a lot of managers, coaches, players over the years. I was a young guy covering the Boston Red Sox years ago, and I will say you are not going to find a better dude than Terry Francona. Period. Maybe my favorite person to deal with over the years, and he is a diehard Arizona fan. Graduated in 1980. Is it all the games, right, Terry? When you're back in Tucson, you are courtside for almost every game, aren't you?
I kind of base my schedule around their home games. Just, that's how much I've ever since Luke came in '83. I've had tickets, and it's a big deal in Tucson, and I try not to miss them. I absolutely love them.
Terry, I got to ask you, as a manager, as a coach, what's your viewing experience like when you're watching this? Is there nervous energy? Are you just able to kind of sit back and enjoy it? I'm curious.
I always go early. Jeff knows this. I go about an hour early. I love watching the teams warm up. I love watching the communication, just, the pregame stuff. There's a lot of games I'll leave early because I've seen enough, but I just love watching the interaction before the game. I think it speaks volumes, like who's ready to play, who might not be ready to play. That's my favorite time.
Terry, what do you think you've as Tommy has taken over this program now and has continued to put them where Arizona is supposed to be, one of the best teams in the program in the country. Where have you seen maybe him develop as a coach? What do you think have you seen him change in terms of whether it's man management off the field or off the court, or things on the court you think he has done differently or evolved?
Well, I just think, I mean, for what he did, he was Mark Few's assistant for forever.
Mm-hmm.
Takes over a program that's, like you said, supposed to win, not somebody that, where you can go 500 and survive. And to never have been a head coach before, I thought he hit the ground running, and he cares so much. I know when they lost in the regionals, man, he took it so hard, and he took it as a challenge that, and I agree with what he said. If you're asking your players to get better, you got to try to get better yourself. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And he's just so conscientious about it. I love it. There's nothing I don't like about Tommy and what he does with the program.
Yeah, he told me to say hello to you after the game, and told me that you invited him out for like a whole series to spend around the program. He loved it. Now, is he going to return the favor? Like, can you get all access with Tommy Lloyd on like a road trip or something?
You know what? I actually what I enjoy more than that, Jeff, is I love going down to practice. And because they get up and down the court so well, and it's organized, and Tommy's great about it. He'll have me come in and say something to the guys. I don't know. You can tell. I mean, you've been around me long enough. I love this program. I love the coaches. I love the players. I get more nervous watching these games than I do in our games because I have no ability to affect the outcome, which is probably good. But I just really get into it.
Terry, last one for you. I know you want to get to bed. You got a doctor's appointment in the morning. I hope you're doing well. By the way, you look good. What would it mean, do you think, if this Arizona program? We know it's been a while. It's been a while since they got to the Final Four. They've won one national title, back in '97. What do you think it would mean for Tommy Lloyd to bring another, title back to Tucson?
Well, I think I would ask for a day off so I could come home and be at the parade. Tucson is a college town. Everything revolves around university, and the basketball program is probably number one in town. And people would go bananas, and I would love to see that happen. I'd be leading the charge.
Well, listen, appreciate you coming on. We have this one in stores. for a while here. So it was good for you to come on here. We'll do it again. If they get to the Final Four, we got to get you out. I know it doesn't line up well with your season, but we gotta figure out a way. If they get to the Final Four, maybe you could take a private plane or something and get over there for the game. So great seeing you. Continued health. Enjoy the off season, and I'm sure I'll see you out there in Tucson some point in maybe January, February.
Thanks, Jeff. If they get to the Final Four, you'll have a hard time getting rid of me. See you guys.
See you, Tito.
Thank you, Terry. It's funny talking about what it would mean to Arizona. I mean, for anybody watching it is not aware, he won the World Series with the Red Sox in 2004, which talk about a starving fan base. The 86 years at that point. I mean, it was a different animal. People lost their freaking minds. And Arizona, it's not, I mean, almost 30 years for the Wildcats to win. It would be a similar vibe, I imagine, in Tucson.
It would be crazy. I mean, nothing's like those Red Sox fans because, again, the Yankees were just beating them over. And I grew up as a Red Sox fan, right? So, I know. But, yeah, I mean, I think certainly, again, in Tucson, Arizona, where I went to school, that's all it is. That's all it is. So, and I think they've been close so many times. That's the hard part of getting the Final Four, having teams with talent. And this team is interesting, guys, because this is a team that's got 3 freshmen playing a lot of minutes. This is a team that doesn't have great perimeter shooting, but they've been able to find ways to win close games as a very young team, with Koa Pete, with Braden Burries, with some of these other guys that really have been terrific so far. And Krivas was a man tonight. Now, again, I know there was no Terrace Reed, but those dudes were scared to bring it anywhere close to him.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, you made the point there about the freshmen that they have playing, but I think it's the difference between in Arizona and in Arkansas. Arkansas is relying heavily on those 2 freshmen to carry the load. And I think you see things, I think, falling into place a little bit more for Koa Pete specifically. Obviously went ballistic against Florida, but this is more, I think, of the role for him on this team, which is like post and seal early, hit him on a high-low. They obviously worked him on some cleared side stuff. Like they kept him out of the middle of the floor a little bit more today. And then on top of that, I just look at, it starts with Bradley, it starts with Krivas, it starts with Awaka, like playing inside out like that. And you touched on it, like that doesn't force Barry's or Pete or any of these guys that are freshmen to have to feel like they have to carry that load. And that allows them, I think, to progress more naturally. But going back to Bradley, I mean, is he the best closer in college basketball right now that Walter Clayton's gone? I mean, how many times is he going to do this? Against Florida, he did it. He took over the game and it was accounted for 12 straight points against UCLA. And then today, they just continue to attack and get downhill and get in the paint. And that just sets up that offensive rebounding that we talked about. So he's been phenomenal and a big reason why Arizona's where they're at right now at 5-0.
I mean, I think he is the reason. You said it, Mike. Yeah. In crunch time, he has been the best player in the country. It's been remarkable. In these moments against other high-level teams, like what he's doing, and it happens to be some of these games where these are the showpiece game. Everybody likes college basketball, is watching these games and watching him perform at this level. He's outstanding. I will say this, too, without being like mean about it. Braden Burries, he has not played well offensively. He had 2 fouls again in like a minute of this game. He had foul trouble in his first game against Florida. He has not been the player that some of you could see flashes of at different times in his younger career. That said, he still tries to defend. He's trying to rebound. He's bringing energy. He's not playing like a lot of freshmen where you don't score, it affects the rest of your game. He's still competing. He's just not doing what he wants offensively, and that usually takes time to learn. I agree with Tito 100%. He said this team has a lot of growing to do. I think that's right. I mean, if Burry starts to play at a consistent level, if Pete he's not going to be the Florida guy every day, but if he is playing at a very high level consistently, that's a game changer. Because in that game against UCLA, Pete wasn't great.
Hey, the kid Karchenkov, Dalen, is going to be. He doesn't shoot it great, but man, he does everything else, and he made life difficult for Caravan and some of the other UConn wings tonight.
Well, think about it too. Just what Karchenkov allows you to do. Because I was wondering coming into this game, who is going to stick Caravan? Because I worried about Pete having to chase all that off-ball action that Caravan runs. You worry about it when Awaka's in the game. with Krivas because they play those two bigs at times. So to have a guy like Karchenkov that and Erstad too that have the positional size on the wing to still be able to be physical with Karaban and still have the speed to keep up with them in these off-ball actions, I thought was everything tonight because it just forced everything into that middle third of the floor, and it turned into really like a 2-on-2 game in that drop coverage for the majority of the game, it felt like.
Yeah, well said. All right, yeah, let's get to Jeff. You obviously were in stores. You had Tommy Lloyd after a big win, their third win over a ranked opponent. Let's hear for that interview now.
All right, Tommy. Florida and Vegas, UCLA and LA, UConn in stores with 3 freshmen in your team. Pretty damn impressive. 4 freshmen. 3 freshmen you start. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, how surprised are you that you've been able to win these games the way you've won them?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, in these games, you got to get in the game and you got to hang in there and you got to give yourself a chance. And, we've had really good stretches in these games where I felt like, we were the better team. That doesn't guarantee you're going to win, and you got to be able to make plays down the stretch. And, our guys have done that. But, the season's long. So we're going to get back to Tucson. It's going to be a long flight tonight, and, we're going to have a good couple weeks of getting better.
Yeah, you said that you don't want to get – and you've done this long enough to understand that these early season wins, they're great, right? They're fun, the environment, all this to play big-time matchups. But obviously you guys have to keep getting better.
Yeah, well, these wins are great, and they do matter. I mean, they really help you down the season because there's a selection committee and everything at the end of the year, and obviously these will be looked on favorably because they're 3 really good teams that we've played. I mean, they're top 15, deep run NCAA tournament teams, hands down. I mean, ton of respect for each program and their coaches. But there's just so many ups and downs over the course of the season. You just got to stay steady and you got to, look yourself in the mirror and, respect there's a lithave bit of good fortune in some of these things. I mean, not having read plays matters. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't. I'm not going to, say it'll change the result. I mean, we would have had to play another game to figure that out. So we'll take the win. I'm really happy where we're at, but you know what? I'm more excited about where we're going.
What is the biggest thing that you're going to try to not get on your guys, but talk to your guys about that we need to get better at in the next couple weeks?
I don't think it's anything in particular. I think it's like we've had some experiences. Some tough experiences, some bad experiences, some good experiences, both as a team and individually. Now we got to learn from those. And, we haven't had a lot of time to slow down and say, hey, this is what this kind of means, and here's the direction we need to take it. So I think we got a chance to kind of galvanize our identity and kind of really hone in on what our values are on the court. And so we're going to do it. We're going to attack that the next couple of weeks. And, I'm hopeful in 2 weeks, this team makes a big jump.
No, I love what you've done. Playing, I mean, it's kind of the Lute Olson when I was there, playing big-time games, non-conference games, which are good for the sport, which are really good for the program, and you learning where your team's at.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Hey, it's a tough business, and everyone has their own way of doing it. And, when you're at a place like Arizona, I think you can, you have the luxury of opportunities like this. Not every program has. So you could say schedule like this, schedule like that, but it's just not realistic for everybody. So, we want to take advantage of it, because we want to be great ambassadors for college basketball. I mean, I love college basketball. I mean, I've always loved it. It's provided a great life, for me and my family, and I just feel really fortunate. So, I love participating in games in this, and to be honest with you, I mean, I feel great that we won. If we would have lost, I wouldn't have felt bad. We would have went back to the drawing board and got better.
You going to celebrate with one of Dirtbags for me or no?
I think we'll probably get in a little bit after that. But what I can say to our Field of 68 followers, your Field of 68 followers, they're not ours, they're yours. We need to get some more sponsors because if Nate Weekers is our SID's the camera guy.
Job.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can get an upgrade there.
I think we might hire him. I think we can afford to, maybe get him a little bit of a raise here for what he's doing.
You can't take him from me. He's out. He's out.
He is elite. He is elite. All right, great seeing you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Nate. Let's go SIDs. Getting it done.
That's right. Dirtbags, if you didn't know, Dalen, is
I'm unaware.
a very, very high-end establishment in Tucson that I frequented as a undergrad. So you can imagine what it was like.
It sounds like my kind of spot. I mean, good branding. Names matter. That's important. That's right there.
That's right.
I mean, Tommy said it there. He wouldn't be upset if they lost. I mean, I think you made a great point. And I think all of us appreciate all these coaches being willing to play these games. And this is not what has always happened, especially the last 10 or 15 years. This has become a bit of a newer trend, the bigger brand saying it's incumbent on us to carry college basketball forward and play these games. So we appreciate seeing him. You also mentioned, Jeff, that Danny wasn't that upset about their loss. Now, Terrace Reed not playing, huge impact. I mean, he's averaging 29 and almost 3 blocks. I mean, it's a massive impact for him not to play. That was standing. What was your thoughts about UConn in this game, even in a loss?
I mean, Caravan wasn't very good. Solo ball, couldn't make shots. The big kid, Robbie, he was pretty good, to be honest. And I think Danny figured out, like, that's helping his confidence, and he could play those two bigs together at some points when Terrace Reed comes back. It's not a major injury. Braylon Mullins, I think, will be back fairly soon. So this team whole is as good as any team in the country. I will say that because, again, Caravan then slides down, right? He doesn't have to be a guy. He can be the fourth option. And, to me, that's when he's at his best. That's when UConn's been at their best and won, natties. So I think when this team is whole, you're going to see the pieces fit together extremely well. They're not going to have to rely as much on a solo ball to make shots because Braylon Mullins probably becomes their best shooter. 6'5", can really, really, really shoot the ball. So, again, I've never seen Dan Hurley like this after a loss. I've never seen it because he understands the end game here. And I think you also haven't seen it because, he's coming off still 2 national titles a couple years ago. So he really comprehends the fact that, hey, you know what? This game at this point in the year, I'm not going to worry about because I know I have a team here. I know I got a squad, and I got to make sure that they're healthy, number one, and that at the end of the year, again, just like Tommy Lloyd, we're playing our best basketball.
Yeah, look, I think you touched on Caravan sliding down, and it goes back to what I was talking about earlier when you look at the matchups defensively against UConn. Because if you don't have the right matchup on Caravan, that shatters a defense because of what he does off ball. Now you got to overhelp if you're too big to chase on screens, and now it collapses everything. And so what ends up happening is, like tonight with Pete and Awaka, they could quote unquote hide. And I don't even want to diminish the play of Stewart and Ross because Stewart, you're down 10 points in the first half if not for Stewart. And in the second half, Ross hits a big 3 to make it 53-45 and kind of break the ice, get it back to single digits. But think about Mullins sliding into that spot to where, like, if you have a defender that you're looking to hide against this UConn team, where when he comes back? So that's all. I think it's part of the reason why you got to be excited if you're a UConn fan, despite not pulling this out. And then Malachi Smith, his ball pressure tonight, and I thought I know Jaden Bradley had a good game, but once Bradley subbed out there they try to steal like 2 minutes there in the second half. And Burries was basically taking the ball handling responsibilities. And I thought Malachi Smith was tremendous on ball. He hit the big shot there late to I believe, put him up 2. So just a lot to like about this UConn team without question. I thought, honestly, as the game went on, that drop coverage that Arizona was playing, it's like you start shooting those shots, those floaters, those pull-ups as a last resort. It's like, these aren't the shots we want to shoot. Now I got to shoot it. And you saw in the second half, they started to come off with confidence. Like, I know it's going to be there. I'm going to step into it. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to knock it down. And then, because enough was enough at that point. You got to do it confidently. And then Ribe was able to knock down the threes because he said enough was enough. I'm not going to allow you to guard me like this. And then in the paint, I just thought they did an admirable job despite the size disadvantage of just trying to win possessions defensively by committee. So I think that mettle that they showed was different than that team last year. That reminded me more of 2 years ago and 3 years ago than it did last year. I think that's a positive sign.
It's funny you mentioned confidence. It is crazy how strong, how important this is in that game, in any game. But in basketball, you can almost see it at times. And you mentioned coming off with drop coverage, coming up and stepping into that jump shot, and that little floater with confidence is huge. Reeb, also, I got to text Benetti because I got to get the phonetic pronunciation because I keep jacking up his name. He keeps saying it different ways. I heard Benetti nailed it. Benetti nailed it all game. I didn't write it down, so that's my bad. Text Benetti. But like even in the situation where the first 3 hit in the first half, he took one early, and it didn't seem like he wanted to take it. You could feel him not being confident. He stepped into one of the first half, nailed it. When that shot clock's ticking down, there's no more confidence building thing in the world. I got to shoot it. He fired that thing up, buries it. And that's when, again, when I thought they were going to win that game was after he made that shot. But yeah, I mean, there's things to like when you're down 13 at home and you're not playing well. Solo Ball shooting 26% on the season now from the 3-point line. Guy shot 41%, led the Big East last year. He got some good looks in the first half. He got some good ones. So he's got to return to his level as well and help this team. That was early one. That was, I think he's trying to be that guy a little bit. But I mean, he missed some ones he normally makes.
My personal opinion on the Solo Ball threes situation right now is he's looking for a foul every time he shoots a three. Every single time. He's either kicking his legs. On the last one. Yeah. He's either kicking his legs. Like, he is so focused on, because he's getting guarded like he shot 41% from three last year. Yeah. And so I've noticed it time and time again. He fell down on 3 of the threes today, and he just needs to lock in on just him, his release, and the bucket. Like, all the other stuff I think is kind of creeping into his mind there as a shooter.
Yeah, I think they said that was one of them called. Did he get called for the foul on when he kicked out his legs, or they said Gaffney warned him, or John Gaffney warned him or something, like don't kick out again, because he was going to call a foul, offensive foul, on doing that, which you can't do. All right, we got to hit a break. Alabama, Illinois is coming down to the wire here. Brad Underwood's pissed about something. We're going to find out what that is in the break. 30 seconds left. We'll be back after that. After this, talk about that.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up using bonus code FIELD. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. With media days and on-site events the last 2 months, travel for me has been crazy. Luckily, I had Huel. This month, Huel launched in Target stores nationwide. Both of their ready-to-drink products are now available. The Black Edition has 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, and is gluten-free for under $5 a meal. The Daily Greens Edition, which I have here, peach hibiscus flavored, was developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians with 42 vitamins and minerals and superfoods, with just 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and only 1 gram of sugar. When you're busy with work, travel, children, and just life in general, Huel makes sneaking in meals quick, easy, and most importantly, healthy. Pick them up in Target stores nationwide, or if you're a first-time customer, get 15% off your purchase with the promo code F68 at Huel. That's HUEL.com/F68.
Welcome back into Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM, alongside Jeff Goodman, Mike LaTulip. I'm Dalen Cuff. Mike is intently watching the end of the Alabama-Illinois game. 3-point game, 34 seconds to go. Alabama trying to inbound it. Jeff was at UConn at the Stores game where UConn fell 71-67 to Arizona. So just, Mike, while we're kind of watching this, I imagine a lot of our fans are doing what we're doing right now, is watching the game and listening to us bozos talk. What are your thoughts on how on this game, what we could, as much as we could see while we began the show, while the game was still going on? What are your thoughts about where we're at here in this game?
Well, this game's been condensed down to just matchup hunting, and LeBaron Philon has pretty much gone nuclear here in the last 8 minutes or so, and then Stojakovic, same thing to get them back in this game. And to this point, we got 27 seconds left here, and Amari Allen just missed a free throw, 3-point game. But I've just been so impressed with Alabama to this point. How much they got blasted on the boards by Purdue, their activity today. And I figured they were going to try to find a lineup that mixed that size and versatility to be able to keep up with Illinois offensively with the matchup hunting that they do. I think Bristow was like, him getting healthy changes things for this team. So now I'm watching a possession, and it's a 4-point game. I'm borderline flustered. But
He is
I mean,
the former Illini guy here, so let's make sure our audience was aware of that, as they probably are.
Yeah. Now we got Keaton Wagler going to the line for 2 to potentially cut it to 2 with 14 seconds left. I'm rattled, Dagan. I'm rattled. I don't have as much composure as Terry Francona watching an Arizona game. You know,
Dalen, what's been the biggest key in this game for you as you've watched? Because I missed most of it, to be honest. And, you know, I wasn't sure, and I'm not sure with Alabama with their bigs. You know, that's been the big question mark for me going into the year. Taylor Bobolin's been really good for the most part this year. Sherelle, a little bit inconsistent. Obviously, we know this team has guards. That's not the question. Mm-hmm. And Philon has stepped up. I've been watching the last, 6-7 minutes here, and he has gone nuclear, and that's what he can do. What's been the biggest takeaway that you've had from this game so far?
Where they created separation when they came out of the half, they were down a point at the half. Their level of activity and energy on the defensive side, Illinois just didn't match it. Just did not match it. It was across the board. Yeah. And you mentioned Bristow, like he helped give them a ton just by how aggressive he was playing. He's getting loose balls. He's diving on things. He's getting tips. He's getting back taps. Like he was incredibly impactful in the game in a lot of ways that show up on the stat sheet. And Dalton, some of that's infectious. Like those guys were. Their activity, they were in terms of recovering and helping and getting back, multiple efforts. It was impressive for the first 10, 12 minutes that I was able to see of that half before we started the show. They were great, and that has been lacking at times. Now, when you say, Jeff, they're bigs, these bigs need to give energy. They need to defend, protect the rim, rebound, rim run, and make some plays that way. They're not throwing the ball to Aiden Sherrell in the block and letting him go to work. And Taylor Bobolin's got to make some threes. He'll do that, but offensively, their role is to get guys open, to rebound, to be consistent, to give some physicality on defense, be able to have those multiple efforts and protect and help. This is not a team that's going to be at all built by their offense from their bigs. It's just not who those guys are. So that's what you're looking to get, and they need their guards to play well. And they need their guards to be efficient. Yeah. And the last part is, and LaTulip mentioned it, rebounding is the biggest thing. If you want to run, you got to rebound the ball. Like, you got to get the ball off the rim. And that was a huge issue against Purdue. This was a much better performance.
It looks like sometimes it's not about size with rebounding. Sometimes it's about speed. And if you find that blend, like you saw in the first half, Nate Oates was doing so much tinkering with his lineup. He made substitutions at the 18:37 mark in the first half. I mean, we saw him do that last year, pulling guys for defense and rebounding. He was searching for that group. And I think he found it with Bristow at the 5, and now Hummerkaus hits a 3 to make it a 2-point game with 8 seconds left. Yeah. This is actually, I know you look at the score, it's been a high possession game. You see 85 points for Illinois. But this has been really impressive defensively for Alabama. Especially in the SEC, if they can find a way to find a grouping, and I thought Amari Allen was going to be a big piece tonight because he has that versatility and mobility at 6'8". And then you add Bristow to the mix. There's just going to be some different ways that they can play now, as opposed to just being like, hey, we're starting 3 small guards and, let's hope we go 37% or more from 3. This is a pretty important development here for this Alabama team. So we'll see how they close it out.
Yeah, because they were going with the kid Williamson, right? The Ivy League transfer. Instead, they're going with the Tarleton State transfer. And I haven't seen a lot of him. Nobody really had before tonight. He's played 20 minutes so far tonight. Obviously, if he played for Tarleton State, we know one thing about him. That means he played for Bully Clyde Gillespie. That means he's tough as shit, right? Yeah. That's what it means.
Yeah, he put that on display. Like, he put that on display tonight. Like, there was no question of this kid's toughness. Now, we both did credit their defense. I don't know how the hell Wrightsell how the hell they don't switch that automatically, that handoff with Hummerkaus. You're down 5. The game's on the line. You can't give up a 3. They let him have basically a dribble DHO wide open triple, which is not good. So inbounding the ball, like late game situations, this is the stuff that you work on in practice all the time before the season starts. But when these lights are on, how you just simply inbound the ball. Nice job coming back to it by Philon and getting fouled. Like, that's some stuff that when it's not done when the pressure is on, you can have a mistake there that can cost you the game. But they did a good job getting it inbounded, and now got to make some free throws.
I've been
Hey,
really impressed with Phylon too today. He had the foul trouble early, but if you're watching him interact with Nate Oates, and he was so, despite the foul trouble and the calls, like he was so positive. And you guys know this, like you just the more you stay in it mentally, despite the foul trouble, you give yourself the opportunity to step up in big moments. And we saw him, obviously, what he did the final 6, 7, 8 minutes of the second half, and then now he's got a chance to potentially ice the game from the foul line. So, and he set himself up for that by just how even keel he was as he misses the free throw. Not saying that was reverse jinx. It wasn't.
Unfortunately, I think LaTulip, you're ahead of me by like 4 seconds. That's not good news for me right now. You're ahead of me by a couple seconds.
Truly, I was truly commending. I'm not kidding you. I'm truly commending.
No, he's been awesome all year.
Yeah.
He's been a different player because, frankly, with the departure of Mark Sears, he's had the ability to do that, right? The ball's in his hands a ton, and he makes the second one. So they're up 3 here with 8 seconds left. All right, LaTulip, you can take it from here if you want. They fouled.
Yeah, they're going to foul. They're going to foul up 3.
Would you have fouled that quick? Why foul?
Well,
that
I
quick?
was about to say that was the problem. They had him
Quick.
catch it 92 feet from the hoop.
Way
Let
too
him
quick.
take 2 dribbles and take 2 or 3
Right.
seconds.
Quick.
It's half court. Now we're fouling him. That was too quick.
I usually like. I know it's 7 seconds, but I usually like the 5-6 second range, because then you got to think on an inbounds pass coming back the other way. You don't want to give them enough time, because now if he makes one of these or 2 of these, now they're going to foul immediately now that's 6.5 seconds, and now you're just giving as he misses the free throw. Now you're just giving them the opportunity to have Illinois the opportunity to have more time on the possession coming back. So it's tough, because you don't want them running full speed at the basket. They don't usually call the heave from 75 feet when you're getting grabbed, foul, but.
And that was something I've heard all the rules calls right now too, though, with now continuation. They're going to be cognizant of that. If you're trying to shoot it from 75 feet, like if you're not really doing that, you go into the motion, they're not going to give you that. So you still have the leeway to execute a foul in the backcourt after, especially where he caught it after 1 or 2 dribbles, but maybe academic at this point in time. It's a 2-point game.
Yeah, if he makes 2 here, 6 seconds left, I think the game is likely over at this point. If he makes,
you got to say this though about Alabama. This is essentially a road game. You're going to Chicago. You're coming off a home loss.
It is a road game.
You had the road winning St. John. Like this is their resume is not the same as Arizona, but it's right there, bro. Like this is impressive to say the least.
No, I was there for 4 of those games in that building. Not even counting the Big Ten tournament. We played 4 regular season games there, and I'm telling you, that is the biggest NBA arena capacity wise, and they sell that out. Because it's the biggest.
How many does it hold? I didn't know that.
20, almost 21,000. And so it's
okay. Hey, let's get to the. It looks like last free throw coming, the second free throw coming right now, and he knocks it down. I think it was Millette, maybe. Okay. They're up 4. Looks like game's over. All right, so LaTulip, let's flip it a little bit to your take on the Illini now. We've talked about Alabama. We've talked about the emergence here of Bristol a little bit. Obviously, Fallon's been unbelievable, one of the best guards in the country. He's clearly established himself with that. I also want to say one thing about Alabama before we move on to Illinois. Sears was a hell of a player. What Sears wasn't was a hell of a leader. And that is where I think this Alabama team might have an advantage over last year or even the year before, when they were super successful, won a ton of games. He was a guy that, again, could have been a better leader, could have been a better distributor. He was a scorer. We'll see if Fallon can turn into a better leader. All right, getting to Illinois. LaTulip, your take on this team so far, especially tonight. Again, they got a couple pieces back tonight that haven't played, or certainly with Tommy's case, didn't play much. Where are you with the Illini?
I'm still really high on them. I think the floor is super high with this team, only really because that game tonight, and I think 3 days ago, was the first time all of these guys have practiced together, like ever. Petrovic got here in August and then had some injuries. Stojakovic was out for 2 months. Ivicic got his tonsils out, then had a knee injury. This is the first game that this whole cast has been together. Tommy only plays 14 minutes. But, I think the question mark around this team, I think we knew they were talented offensively, and they got a little stagnant tonight until Stojakovic was able to get things going in that matchup hunting. But the question was always going to be defensively for this team. And I thought, what they needed to do tonight was limit dribble penetration for Alabama. And everybody talks about Alabama's threes, but they get it a lot from paint touches, from dribble penetration. I just thought last 10 minutes of the game or so, they struggled with that. And I just wonder if there's going to be certain teams that have a Braden Smith, that have a Donovan Dent, that have some of these guys that are jets that can create those mismatches off of ball screens, get downhill, attack bigs. That's just an area they need to improve. And I think if they improve that, they're right up there. They're a Final Four contender, despite the result tonight. I mean, Alabama's a team that's battle tested. They've, they have probably as good of as strong of a 4-game stretch as anybody has in college basketball. Even beyond that, they play UNLV after they play Gonzaga next. So I think they're going to learn a lot from this film, because there's certain things like you're going to have to find out your matchup combinations or your personnel combinations soon. I think there's experimenting going on to see what you have and who works together. That's what the non-conference is for. And the sooner they figure that out, the better.
It's a good point. I do think that this is when you don't have your guys together for an extended period of time, the more tinkering, the more experimenting by Underwood is kind of expected. I also don't think Mirkovic played poorly, just didn't play well. I mean, missing bunny layups, missing shots he normally makes, just loose, like dropping balls out of bounds. Like he looked uncharacteristic for the talent that he is, especially in the offensive end of the floor. So I'm still big on Illinois. Nothing changes. This is more to me about, wow, Alabama, what a bounce back, what an effort, what energy they played with defensively. Great job on the boards. It's more crediting them than poo-pooing what Illinois can be. And I do think Illinois will grow. And LaTulip, you did mention whether it's Donovan Dent or Braden Smith. Yeah, those dudes are going to mess up a lot of teams. Like they're going to jack up a lot of teams, so that they have to. Like that's part of the challenge of playing some of the best players in the country and playing a league that has some of the best league guards in the country. I do think they will improve, especially as a collective. Again, when you have more time, more reps, and Brad figures out in which scenarios and what situations he can lean on certain guys. I mean, that's one of the big things you're learning in the preseason or the pre-conference season is who can I trust in what situations, and how do they perform when the lights are on. That's different.
And I mentioned those two specifically, Dent and Smith, because I think this Illinois team can compete for a Big Ten title. And we'll see if UCLA ends up being up there. I definitely have questions about them, but Purdue certainly, Michigan certainly, Michigan
Purdue's
State.
the team to beat. Let's face it, Purdue's the team everybody's chasing, clearly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've rounded into form, and I think, again, it's going to come down to, you mentioned Mirkovic, right? Like he was 5 of 13 from the field against Texas Tech, 4 of 13 from the field tonight. Like he's going to have to adjust to dealing with the type of length and size in these games, being a guy that is limited athletically, super skilled, but limited athletically. So how does he hold up on both ends? We know he can use his leverage. We know he can rebound at a high level. I think the game is going to continue to slow down for him. He's already had a tremendous start to the year, but once things continue to slow down for him even more, I think you're just going to see this team be able to pull even more levers, particularly on the offensive end. I like they sprinkled some zone in there at the end. They're experimenting more defensively too than they did last year too. They were super conservative last year defensively, and I think they want to force more turnovers this year. So again, just like a lot of these teams, figuring out what you have early. I'm sure we'll talk about Kentucky at some point, but that's another point that I want to make. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if we have enough time to talk about Kentucky. Like
I think we should make it. I know we want to go to break at 11:50. I think we break
I would love to talk
Kentucky because
let's do it.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's hit our break. Let's hit a break now. And let's come back and get into Kentucky. Let's go to break. We're back. It's Wildcat time. We all got some concerns, clearly.
Yes.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back to Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. All right, Kentucky, lost to their rival Louisville in a big stage back on the 8th. 10 days later, they get, pretty well handled by Michigan State on Tuesday night. Mark Pope's, emotional press conference after, not emotional, like just, a press conference where he's laying it all out there that he is doing a bad job and they are failing up to this point. I'll start with you, Goody. Like, what are your thoughts on the Kentucky team, that the money that was spent, what we thought, we understand the injuries, but still the product we're seeing right now, it ain't good.
So I think a big part of this is Pope was spoiled last year because he had such great leadership, guys that bought into Kentucky, right? They understood it right away. They won some close games. They felt Big Blue Nation. They responded to Big Blue Nation. Pope loved them. They loved Pope. Everything was like hunky-dory there. Right. And this year, that hasn't been the case. Obviously, we see the number they've spent. The payroll is number one in college basketball, somewhere in that $22 million range. And these guys aren't playing for the name on the front of the jersey. And you can see it. And Pope doesn't want to call out these guys. He wants to stop himself from calling them out, and he's trying to take accountability. But you can see it on his face. The frustration, because he's got so much pride in this Kentucky program because he played there. And I think that's what's killing him right now. It's like, guys, why aren't you playing for the same pride I did? Well, part of it is these dudes are rentals, a lot of them. And there's not that leadership from Otega Owe. He has struggled. He's trying to figure out what he needs to do for this team. And he's trying to maybe play for the NBA a little bit. But, man, this team looks completely disjointed. They don't have great chemistry. You can clearly see that. And who knows what's going to happen here in the future with Jalen Lowe, and whether he comes back or he shuts it down with the shoulder surgery. I talked to him for a couple minutes before the game, and he doesn't know what he's doing yet. And Jaden Quaintance, I think he'll be back in December, but we don't know with that one either.
Yeah, I mean, it's really frustrating to watch. I'll be honest. And it's frustrating to watch because, look, everybody poo-poos exhibition season, whatever, but that team played their ass off in that exhibition against Purdue. I don't think anybody can deny that. So once you do that, then there's an expectation. And so, look, there's no question that Michigan State can punk you and impose their will. That's exactly what they did last night. And more than any team in America, probably, when that team smells blood in the water, you're done. And so this Kentucky group right now, they just kind of, I'm trying to think of how to put it. They defy all logic because you'd think when you're down your point guard, you'd run more of that Mark Pope 5-out continuity and have more structure offensively, not less. You'd think that when you're shorthanded, that effort would be the least of your worries, right? And then I think part of the frustration for Pope is he knows that if the effort and focus doesn't show up on the court, the non-negotiable stuff, to be honest, then when Pope and his staff go back to the film room, you can't honestly assess film. You can't. You can't honestly assess where you need to improve in basketball, in schematically, offensive system, defensive system. Like if you're having to coach effort and focus right now, when a lot of America's top teams have that down and their coaching energy is flowing towards actual game planning, rotations, system improvements, you're behind. And I think part of what Pope is feeling, and he's alluded to it a little bit, is like the anxiety around being a coach when you're behind. And you know the expectations at Kentucky. You know what you're trying to compete for. And it's like we can't even get to the stuff we need to improve on because we have to fix the effort and focus. Like there's times where effort is great, but it's clear that a specific defensive coverage doesn't work for your personnel against this type of team. But when the effort sucks and you leave your feet on a closeout or you get to ball watching, and I'll put effort and focus in there. You get to ball watching when you can't close out a possession because a rebound's flying right by your ear. That's the stuff that becomes really disheartening as a coach almost, because there's certain things you could see back in the Eastern Illinois game. He was trying to prep, like almost trick the team into prepping for Michigan State. He was subbing guys out with 2 minutes left up 40 for not getting back transition defense. Like that was his way of like, well, shoot, maybe I'm not getting through to them in practice, and I just got to take away their playing time in game to send this message up 40. That happened the game before. So it's frustrating to watch because I watched that Kansas team. Kansas isn't any more talented than that Kentucky team, but they play hard. And at least they put up a fight against a really good Duke team because even down Darren Peterson, they played their asses off, and that can cover up a lot. So I digress.
You didn't digress. You nailed a lot of it. I mean, they are rudderless and listless, and that's the problem because Pope's a good coach, and he's sitting here saying he knows it's happening, and he's blaming himself. I am doing poorly. It's on me. He is taking all the accountability. Where anybody that's watching it right now, if I watch Jasper Johnson chuck another bad three, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Like last night, I was like, bro, what are you doing? I get it. You're a freshman, and you're a highly touted freshman. That is not a good shot. That is a shot from a high school kid. But there are times where you still see Denzel Aberdeen. Obviously, stuff like that becomes contagious. Turnovers become contagious. Bad shots become contagious. Lack of effort is a cancer. And that's the problem. You mentioned mental and physical. You see it in both ways. I think effort's the same thing. Are you mentally locked in? Are you understanding the scout? Are you understanding what we're switching and what we're not? Or do you know the coverage we're supposed to be in? Are you executing it? And people always make mistakes, but that's when they are repeated mistakes or the effort is not there to even be in the right spot. That's the problem. And Otega Owe, I feel like poor guy is like a personification of this. Like he looks listless and rudderless. He just looks like he's out there. He was one of the best players in the country last year for the last 5 weeks of the season. He looks like a shell of himself. And I think you're right, Goody. There's part of that. You're trying to figure out, what's my role with this group? How do I do my thing again? Because, yeah, I got paid here now, but I want to go to the league. Like, I need to look like I did at the end of last year. Like, I don't look like that right now, and that's a problem. For me, well, it's a problem for all of you. And I think Pope's taking it all on himself right now, which I get. You want to protect your players to an extent. But those guys got to want to play for each other and play with each other.
So what do you
understand
do?
Quentin's
all right. So I'm gonna throw it to both you guys as former players who are high IQ guys too, who can look at the overall situation here. Mike, I'll start with you. Like, what do you do if you're Pope? Do you shorten the rotation? Do you just say the hell with it at this point? I'm gonna play the dudes who are gonna play the hardest in practice all week?
I mean, it's kind of, I hate making this comparison because it's kind of what Mike Woodson had to end up doing last year. It's like, I got to play Anthony Leal and Luke Goody as much as I possibly can because they represent
They have
what
pride.
Indiana basketball is about.
Right.
Right? Like, and so the problem is that Indiana team, as the season went on, the expectations went out the window, right? Like this, I think there's still hope for this Kentucky team. But Dalen, you know this, and Jeff, you've seen this throughout your career. The best teams, look at Florida last year, look at the Jay Wright Villanova teams. They're player-led.
Mhm.
They're player-led. And like the players hold each other accountable. And there's not this situation that Dalen, you alluded to, where it's like, well, shoot, I gotta get mine up, because if I give this up, I have no idea when I'm getting it back. That's the type of offense they were running last night.
So it's funny. Hey, guys.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dalen. Go ahead.
I just think I think when a coach, especially a guy that's coaching his alma mater, and he mentioned identity in that press conference 5 or 6 times last night. When you are not playing to an identity or standard of just competing, I will think you for sure you strip it down to like, I want guys that are going to go strap it up for me. That's all I'm really worried about right now. We'll figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
And you could make an argument that they may have enough talent to compete in some games and compete in a lot of games. And they can figure this thing out, and some of those more talented players get on board. It's not like it's a lost cause. It's just like, guys, I'm going to start right here. Just the most basic level. We have to compete every possession. And if you don't compete, you're coming out of the game. You can miss a shot. I don't care. You can turn it over. I don't care. I'm starting at the base level. And that's a hard thing to do. But when he's talking about identity, I think that's what he's talking about. Who are we as a team, and what are we going to do in terms of trying to compete as a group? Because that's starting at the basics. So I think you play those dudes that are going to line up and give you everything they got. That's it.
Me too. I would start there. I would start with, hey, guys, you know what? I don't care how much money each one of you are earning. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the guys that play the hardest in practice this week, and we're going to see what happens. And I'm not going to play 10 necessarily. I'll play 8 if I have to. Doesn't matter. I think he's got to make a statement here. He's got to make a statement with this team saying, you know what? Don't give a shit. You collect your paycheck if you want. I'm not going down this way. I also thought it was interesting. A year ago, I remember saying to myself, after they won their first game or the game in Champions Classic, he had Andrew Carr up there with him on the podium. And this was something I had never really seen before. He had Andrew Carr start the press conference. Okay? Andrew Carr, who was new to the program. You never see this. Coach always wants to talk first, give the opening statement. Some just enjoy the attention. Others just understand that's the way it goes. He had Andrew Carr do it. Well, last night, Otege Owe didn't start. Moreno didn't start, obviously. I mean, Owe just sat there with a look in his face, a glazed look on his face, like he didn't want to be there at all. So I think that also made a statement last year of what he felt about this team that early in the season, the confidence he had. And again, these guys and their leadership and their togetherness and their team identity, this team does not have that, any of it right now.
Well, I'll ask you this, and this is like a genuine question. When you think about the guys, who are the guys right now? The question is not like, hey, who are the couple guys that are not playing hard and not focused? Who are the guys that are playing with some effort and playing like the genuine question? Because right now it's like
Chandler,
Marino and Chandler, like the two that come to mind.
Yeah.
And beyond that,
many.
like I've just
about to say, I'm trying to think of that. But this is one of the questions I ask a lot of these coaches now in the off season, and when we get to September and October. Who are your leaders? Who are the guys in the locker room? Because with all this change and everybody be moving around, like when you go to a different program, sometimes your role is different. Sometimes you find your voice. You are maturing. And you got to know who these people are. I mean, the coaches know, and they also know that, man, we don't really have that. It seems like they don't really have that. And that's or one or two or three of these dudes that are leaders. They don't have to be starters all the time. They got to be people that are going to keep guys accountable on the floor. It really helps when they are all starters.
Always should be that guy, right? Always should be that guy because he was there last year.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to be last year. Yeah.
No, not at all.
The reason why they had so much success early last year was they were old. I mean, they were old as hell last year.
They were average, like they were older than half the NBA team.
Yeah, I mean, those guys came in and they were like, cool, I got this role, I got that role, you got that role, you got that role, boom. And then, they knock off Duke early. They have a few solid wins early, and I thought that's what got them out of the gates. I don't know. I think this is all setting up for. I think it's setting up for a turnaround, but like I think you kind of have to rely on those. Like it comes down
Even
to
after watching Pope. Hey, after watching Pope last night in the post game, I don't think he has confidence in the turnaround.
It can't get much worse. Like I just the disposition, all that. Like at some point, I think at some point these guys are going to feel wearing that logo, specifically that Kentucky logo. I mean, we saw this with the Kentucky team at like some of the end of the Cal eras. Like it's the best logo to wear when shit's going good, and it's the worst logo to wear when things aren't going good. So is that embarrassment of not representing the program going to flip a switch for these guys? That's the question, because the difference between the Indiana thing that I mentioned was like that season was kind of over for them. And so he could kind of just change things and be like, hey, Leo, goody, like let's just kind of restore what's good about Indiana basketball. Pope doesn't have that luxury. Like there's still expectations for this team despite it being this early. So you can't just be like, hey, we're playing Noah and all some of these other guys 35 minutes a night. I just don't, especially with their schedule and SEC play, you can't do that. You got to the guys that you are relying on, Owe, Diabate, you brought in Jasper John. Like these are the guys that have to be to turn the corner. It has to be them.
And yeah, he's not going to mail anything in, man. They are too talented, and they have too many expectations. And we are only 3 weeks into the season, so he's got to figure this thing out. And these dudes have to elevate and have some accountability. All right, let's wrap up the show here. If you want to get in the afters with us and get some questions in the chat, start getting ready for that. But we're going to finish, of course, with our toast of the night. And then LaTulip, I'll let you fire away first.
Oh, geez, toast of the night. I'll go with. Gosh, man, I'm really on the spot here. Honestly, I'll go with LeBaron Philon. I feel like that's a cop out, but I'll go with LeBaron Philon. I thought he was tremendous down the stretch. It's a big win, big bounce back win for Alabama.
Goody.
I think I got to go Jaden Bradley, man. As a kid that didn't do a whole lot his freshman year at Alabama, transfers out, has to wait his turn. His turn is now, and again, as we've talked about throughout the early part of the show, he's been as clutch as any player in America so far.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you with that one. I'm going to go with Keaton Bristow. I mean, that guy, the transfer from Tarleton State, from Alabama, his energy, his effort defensively, the 10 points are great, but I feel like the way he played the game, especially to start the second half, infected all his teammates, and they elevated their game on the defensive end. They elevated their energy, allowed them to get a little cushion. Credit Illini for coming back, but ultimately, I think that young man was outstanding. I can't wait to see him kind of further grow into that role as the season moves on. So, Keaton Bristow, there you go. All right, that's a show. Field of 68 presented by BetMGM. We're hitting the afters. Get us some questions. We might have Nate Oates joining as well, I'm being told. Stand by.
Yes.
These my DJ Burns shades I had for. That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. They're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
All right, welcome back into the Field of 68 Afters, presented by BetMGM. Real quick, at the end of that little montage we got there, Goody, what's up with the slide? What was going on there? What were we doing here?
With the what?
The slide. Did you see the video there? You're sliding into like first base and into the baseline, like baseball sliding.
Somebody got a picture. No, I didn't see it.
AI.
All right, guys, you got to roll. The intro of the intro of the segment, Goodman. You're doing a slide like you're rolling into. They're gonna roll it again.
I mean, I am great. Do you actually guys have?
That was like you're taking them
All right,
into
well,
the
see, there's
depths of
RC. All right, we
Alaska.
got a lot going
Drop
on.
the ball.
Hansborough with
The
You're at the
first
very
person
end.
yes.
We got 30 more
you gotta
seconds
be
to wait
one
for
of
you.
the black guys.
All right, I'm looking. I honestly don't even remember this one.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate
We gotta get you
exam
guys in
or
here
a damn
sometime.
gunshot wound?
No, they're the fake Phillies fan.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this.
Yeah, I could slide. I'm telling you. I will say
what
this.
are you doing though?
What was
Why?
the
I don't know.
scenario?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was. It's a couple years ago. I don't know, but we'll get video of me sliding into second base.
Down, you and I were the only ones. We just don't impromptu slides from time to time.
But
We'll
say,
get
if
you
I'm
guys-
sliding years ago, Goodman, I remember why the hell I'm sliding. If I was on some, it looked like the Sanford
remember
Arena.
what it
That's
was.
what it looked like.
in like a suit. Nevertheless, we should have kept Terry Francona on for that. Have him grade it.
It might have been opening day. Yeah, he could have rated my slide. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, if
all
I
right,
can
let's
get
get
up
these questions
after
going.
sliding, that's a good day.
That's the most important part. All right, let's get these questions in. What do we got, boys?
All right, gentlemen. One game we didn't get to last night because obviously we were live from Champions Classic was Arkansas. 1 point win over Winthrop last night, and a little bit of chaos at the end of that game. So, just your thoughts on the Razorbacks and the ending of that game.
Go ahead, Goody.
Anybody
Fire
want
away
to take
first.
that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
It was chaotic. It was chaotic at the end, right? I mean, you had big guy Logan Duncombe getting who was it from former Alabama, well-traveled big. Who? Pringle, yeah.
Nick Pringle.
Yeah, throwing Pringle to the ground. It was almost like a WWE style move. He throws him to the ground. Pringle gets back up, kind of goes to push him. They both get tees. Honestly, Arkansas escaped in that one. Bad shot at the end. I thought Winthrop had him. I've spent a good amount of time around those guys at Winthrop. We had them in the opening day game. They beat Queens. And Kareem Rozier looked like he was having a terrific game last night from what I was watching. And then Dalen Berry settled for one at the end where, maybe he should have taken definitely should have taken the basket. But escape is the right word for Arkansas there. And how much does that worry you, LaTulip, when a team like Arkansas, who we're not sure what to think yet, really good, talented young guys, some holdovers, it's like a Calipari team that we're looking at and being like, maybe they have a chance. And they barely beat Winthrop at home. What's up with that?
Well, that's the key. You touched on it. We don't know yet with Arkansas. And the reason why, just to start kind of big picture, you have two freshmen as your highest usage guys. And right now, I think they're 41st in KenPom, and the 40 teams above them, no one else has that situation. So, like, no team above them has two freshmen they rely on that heavily as their top two highest usage guys. So they're going to continue to adjust to the way teams are playing them right now. I mean, their teams are, it started with Michigan State, but clogging gaps, packing it in, making them shoot over the top. This is the highest level of scouting and coaching that Cuff and Thomas have faced, and they're going to continue to get better with that. But also, I mean, understand this from a team dynamic. I think it takes a really secure group of players to accept freshmen as go-to guys, to accept multiple freshmen as go-to guys, and to fight the temptation of like, hold up, like it's my time. I transferred to Arkansas for a reason, or I stayed at Arkansas for a reason. And I'm not saying anyone is being defiant. I'm just saying it's going to take time for the other guys to kind of fall in line with given maybe what they expected versus what the reality is. Because the reality is Cuff and Thomas, particularly in the offensive end, those are your two best players, and things are going to flow through them. So what does that mean? Can Carter Knox kind of settle back in? He was a guy I think you expected to maybe take a somewhat significant jump. Billy Richmond, DJ Wagner, all these guys. That's going to be the question for me, because I experienced it in some locker rooms I was in, and there are guys that were upperclassmen that were a little bit reluctant to accept the fact that some freshmen could come in and be go-to guys. So that's the team dynamic, but schematically, and Dalen, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Because they did it last year. My first Field of 68 show last year, I was talking to Matt McCall, and I asked him as a coach, I was like, hey, you got a young group, meaning like, hey, you got two freshmen out there. why are you switching everything 1 through 5? I just think like you're making it so hard on yourself defensively, and Winthrop just took advantage of it. Winthrop, they had driving lanes off of busted switches. They were shooting threes. I think they're overcomplicating things right now, and I think they just need to get back to the basics and maybe get a little more conservative defensively to just help give yourself a chance to grow. I don't know what are your thoughts, Dale?
My point was just going to be defensively. That's my concern, and I do think Acuff and Thomas in particular they're not very good defenders off the ball. They get lost a lot. I mean, the Michigan State game, there were a number of times, simple relocations. They just lost their men at key moments when they were in that game, but they couldn't get key stops. But he's not taking them out the game. They are that talented of offensive players. They're gonna play. So they've got to be better individually, and the group's got to be better collectively. I understand what you're saying with the switching 1 through 5. That one of the biggest problems with young players is you got to talk, is making them communicate and to talk and to listen. And a lot of times switching is simply just being locked in, talking, listening, and switching aggressively. It's a shooter. I'm going to switch more aggressively onto this guy coming off. If it's not, like knowing how you're going to play each guy, you got a KYP. You got to know all the personnel. You got to know where you got to be. You got to communicate. So there are some bigger challenges to doing that than just saying, you're going to stay with your guy most of the time. That said, so many teams still switch 1 through 4. Like they're still going to do a lot of that to evade some of the guard to guard stuff and whatnot. So I just think you got to be more locked in. They have to be better, and most simply, they have to be committed. They didn't look like they were bothered at times by missed assignments. They just want the ball and go back the other way, which a lot of freshmen do, especially when you're that good with the ball in your hands.
And I'm talking like the switching that I'm talking about too is the off-ball switching, because then you just turn into the game of like, go there. Everybody's just like pointing, hey, go there, you go there, you're
not locked in. You're not locked in.
And I think the one thing that not switching off ball does is gives you matchup accountability. And when you have matchup accountability, now you know, hey, I helped off too far here. Now these freshmen will learn quicker that way when they have more of that matchup accountability. So I'm curious how that evolves, because they did it early last year, and I thought it hurt them, and then they changed it a little bit. And now they're kind of going back to what they did again.
Just so we know here what they have coming up. They have Jackson State. Then you have Duke, Louisville, Fresno, Texas Tech, Queens, Houston. Those 4 teams in Duke, Louisville, Texas Tech, and Houston, maybe 4 of the 6 best teams in the country. Like that is a murderous row. And then they start SEC play.
Right. I wonder if he did this because – again, he had enough guys.
Not to cut you off. We do have Nate. I think Coach Oates is on with us right now after a huge win for Alabama, and there he is getting some water. Maybe another beverage coming in later. I don't know. Coach, congratulations! Another big win. Essentially, a road game over the Illini. Obviously, last time we saw you playing a big opponent at home against Purdue, you guys didn't get it done there. To bounce back in this manner and to defend and to rebound in this way and to win at Illinois. What do you think that says about your guys?
We got some tough, hard-nosed, physical guys that are about winning. I mean, it helped to have Keaton Bristow. You know, if we would have had him against Purdue, we don't get out-rebounded by 24. And it's easy to say you win the game. I don't want to say that because Purdue's really good. But he would have given us a better chance to win the game against Purdue, because as it was, getting out-rebounded like we did, if LeBaron makes 2 free throws, it's a tie game with a minute to go. So, you know, it helped to get LeBaron back. Amari Allen showed up big, had 11 rebounds. You know, our guys have shown up big.
And Nate, you ever think about what might have happened if LeBaron didn't call you at 11 o'clock that night and say, I'm coming back, Coach?
I mean, well, we probably don't win this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, he had nine straight points in the second half at 24. I didn't even think he played that great, to be honest with you. I think he's played a lot better. I mean, he's in foul trouble. I don't know what he had at the half. He didn't have nearly enough at the half. We needed to get him going in the second half. But, I mean, he was pretty good. So we don't win the game without him, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach, congrats on the win. That's a tough place to play, even though it's an NBA arena. I mean, they fill that place up. I'm sure you might see the jersey behind me.
No, it was packed.
Yeah, I mean, it's legit.
Mike
I mean, it's legit.
Happy. Hey, Nate. Mike is an Illini, so he was not. He was kind of.
Oh yes. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He was struggling. He was struggling.
I was struggling.
That's all
I
right.
was trying.
I like it. I mean, yeah, you should. I see shoot, he's got the Illinois.
He's got the shirt over his shoulder.
What's that? Illinois, what is that over there? Wright State? What we got?
Yeah.
Illinois and Wright State. Yep. Illinois, Wright State. Well, enough about me, Coach. I do want to ask you. You know, you've shown over the years that you're not shy at all about subbing early. Like how important was it for you defensively to find the right combinations, given the fact that Illinois, they like to match up punt, they like to go into back downs, keeping them out of the paint. What was the mindset there with the personnel?
I mean, one, we were in foul trouble, so sometimes you just kind of luck into figuring out some matchups. Like, you know, Aiden Sherrill was in some foul trouble. I think Taylor made some bonehead plays, and we got him out. But we decided to go small, and it worked. I mean, we ended up getting out rebounded by 2, but it's not 24. Like when one of your guards is Amari Allen, they come up with 11 rebounds. You know, so we went small, switched. I thought it stagnated their offense in the second half. Wasn't nearly as good. You know, we built up the lead. You know, and they missed some free throws too, which helped. But we missed some free throws late that kept them in it. We missed some wide open threes from some pretty good shooters throughout the game that, you know, we could have opened it up even more. But I thought our guards showed some toughness. They, you know, you kind of look at, I mean, Amari Allen had 11 rebounds, but you had some other guards that kind of got in there in the mix a little bit too. I mean, you know, Holloway at 3, which is better than he had against Purdue. So I think he tried to make some tough plays. Houston Millette was in there. So kind of playing Keaton at the 5, going small ball 5, playing Amari at the 4 when you put a bunch of guards out there and make it harder for them to guard you. And then we're still able to rebound and switched everything and kind of stagnated what they tried to do. It turned out to work. So, you know, I don't know if we'll be able to do it against everybody, but it worked tonight.
Coach, you mentioned Bristow when you started talking. I thought his impact on the game was profound, beyond the points notwithstanding. His energy, the way he defended, the way he rebounded, just how he played the is he able to maintain that and kind of play that role for you guys night in, night out? Or is that what you need from him for you guys to be successful?
No, we really do. I mean, he's got to bring the energy because I think, you know, Aiden Sherrill's been in foul trouble pretty much every game. We got to get him to play without fouling. And it seems like he picks up some cheap ones, but he just ends up in foul trouble. So, you know, hopefully we can get him to play without fouling. Taylor Bowen's been a little bit up and down on the rebounding side, you know, so you can definitely play Keaton and Taylor together at the 4 and 5, but Keaton's going to have to play some 4, some 5 and bring some energy. And I mean, he's kind of that missing piece that we needed to get all over the glass. I mean, the one offensive rebound he had put back, he came from the top of the key. It was a big play. So, and he hasn't been able to practice. I mean, he had a bad ankle sprain. So our trainer, Clark, did a really good job getting him back for this game. We originally didn't think he was going to be able to play this game. So, you know, to get him back for this game, and he's not 100%. I mean, he's going to hopefully be closer to 100% when we play Gonzaga on Monday. But he was huge. We needed him. We don't win this game without him.
And Nate, we talked, I don't know, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, before the season even started or got going, and going through the games, and you were like, you know, we could go, you know, 2 and 3 in our first 5 and still be a really good team. You come out of this thing in pretty good shape. I mean, again, getting 2 really good road wins. You know, obviously the Purdue game wasn't the way you wanted it, but how good do you feel about your team going into next week with Gonzaga in Vegas?
I mean, Gonzaga is really good. I think Ken Palm's got them number 1 team in the country right now. So I haven't watched them yet. I know nothing about them other than Mark does an unbelievable job, and they're always pretty good, but it seems like they're going to be even better maybe than what they've been here recently. So, you know, we're going to have to bring it. And then, you know, we got 3 straight games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday out there in Vegas. So we got to get everybody healthy. You know, Keaton's got to keep coming. We're going to need him for sure. Aiden Sherrill should be pretty fresh. He didn't play that many minutes. I think right. So we put him in the starting lineup to try to get the rotations to help with the rebounding because, you know, when Aiden Sherrill comes out, we go small. We need to be a little bit bigger with Houston and Amari Allen coming in. So it was kind of a rotation to help with the rebounding. deal we did, but I think Trelly's just got to continue to. He's coming off that Achilles deal. He's got to get more comfortable playing. I think he's got a lot better basketball to play coming up. But whatever we end up doing against Gonzaga, we've got 2 really good wins. What are we 3-1 right now? Is that what we are? I think. I don't even know what we are. I just know we got Gonzaga on Monday. So we've got 2 good wins on the road at St. John's, and I guess I count this a road win. This place was packed. There was no
Definitely
empty
a road.
Seats. Yeah, it's two road wins in the Garden at the United Center. 2 pretty cool places to play, and now we got to go to Vegas and try to rattle off 3 wins here.
Hey, I'm in a hotel room. You can't tell where I am, but I'm in Storrs, Connecticut. Did you see that me and your boy Hurley are good again? Did you see we made up?
That's good. No, I didn't see where you guys made up. That's
moment.
Good to know.
Big moment.
You had to bring the olive branch. I
don't know. I don't know if I brought the olive branch, but we're good again. So that's all that matters, right?
How'd that game end up tonight?
They lost. Arizona won by 4. Arizona won by 4.
Arizona's good.
No,
we got them in Birmingham. And we got them later too. We go through this and we still have Arizona later.
I want to say, for all of us basketball fans, thank you, by the way. Your schedule is phenomenal, and if we enjoy it. I know it's hard as hell for you guys, but we love it, and you guys have done great so far with it. So it's awesome for all of us.
No, it's like these guys don't come to Alabama to play a bunch of bad bye games. Even our bye games are good. Shoot, we're buying Yale the game before. We're buying South Florida. I don't know that that's nobody else is buying South Florida. So even our bye games are good. So I think you get better playing good teams. So I'm fortunate to get a couple wins, but we're definitely going to get exposed to some stuff we got to get. But we got exposed tonight. There's a lot of stuff we got to get better off tonight. So
thanks, Nick.
We appreciate it, Coach. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on TNT on Monday night against Gonzaga. All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Roll Tide.
There you go. Nate Oates, their team get another big win at Illinois, again at the United Center, but as it's been pointed out, that's a road game. Big win to go along with that St. John's W earlier this year. All right, one more question in the afters. It is 12:22 Eastern time. Let's go. What do we got?
This is the true afters when we're here till all hours of the night. One game.
I want you to know it's my wife's birthday right now. Birthday is already is eclipsed. I got to get downstairs at some point in time here, boys. Wrap this thing up.
All right. Before Dagan gets to that, no, you got to answer. What'd you get her? What'd you get her for her birthday?
We got a couple different things. We got her a bag. My daughter got her little kind of earrings, not elaborate earrings, but some earrings. We got some other stuff coming. There's glassware from somewhere.
Good.
There's something else I'm not going to say because I think she can probably hear me downstairs right now. We got something that's really critical coming in a couple weeks.
I didn't know she was still awake. My bad.
She just got back from work too. We're just living life here. Here we go. All right, ask this question.
Yeah, one game we didn't get to tonight that I do want to talk about is Dayton-Marquette. Marquette falls to 3-3 on the year. Just kind of your thoughts on that game, and then kind of even the Big East as a whole a little bit.
Whew. I'm not sure we have enough time for that one, for the Big East. But right now it's a 2.5 bid league. I'll give it. I'll give Georgetown a half a bid right now. They're not in, but they're certainly in decent shape right now. But again, Marquette, Izzo was able to go to the portal a little bit, and it's been enough because he's Tom Izzo and Michigan State, and the retention's been good enough. He has good enough players. I was worried about this with Shaka. I was worried about it last year a little bit, but he was saved by Cam Jones and the fact that they played so well early last season, because second half of the year they weren't good enough.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just going to catch up with him, and at some point they have money. They have the resources at Marquette. If they want to go to the portal and get big-time guys, they could do it. I think Shaka's got to stop being the sports version of Dabo and just say the hell with it.
Yeah, I mean that is what's happening right now. It's like he's on principle, and I get it. And you want to stand on principle. The problem is in today's world, they have to see the results. So again, it's early in the season. These are not good losses. I will flip this the other way. For the A-10, that's a good win for Dayton. Like that league needs Dayton. They need VCU to win these games. VCU has not been able to do it and had a couple chances so far this year, but Dayton has to, and that's so that other side of the coin is good for them at least. Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, it's November 20th right now, technically November 19th, and the Big East already has 14 losses. That's to me that's crazy. I think the Big Ten right now is 5. I don't know what the SEC has, but that's a lot of losses in the first couple of weeks of the season, knowing that these aren't all like high major games. So I think with Shaka right now, it's apples to oranges when you look at a guy like Tom Izzo and the way he's been. I say stubborn in the most endearing way. Stubborn with the way he's tried to maintain, focus on retention, not go as much to the portal, not rely on the portal. It's apples to oranges because that's something that dude has built up for like 30 years now, and there's a brand that he's built up for 30 years now. And this is just I think Shaka's flown a little too close to the sun at this point. And granted, like, look, Tyler Kolek. It was, you look at like Morcell. I mean, those guys were transfers. So I don't see how you see that type of success from the portal and then kind of just go away from it. That doesn't really compute for me.
And just a shout out, it was mentioned in our chat, the only team that is undefeated in the Big East is Seton Hall. They are 5-0. That said, the highest ranked Ken Palm team they've beaten is 211th. Monmouth. We'll just leave it at that. We're going to leave the show at that, too. All right, we're wrapping this thing up, boys. Enjoyed the afters for Goody. Mike, I'm Dalen. We'll see you next tomorrow, probably. When's the next show? Probably the next 24 hours. We're out of here. Tomorrow. There you go. Later.